The stars of stage and screen often have their own stories to tell regarding their brushes with otherworldly presences. Here some well-known public figures tell of their meaningful or otherwise paranormal encounters, while others reach back from the spirit realm. Helena Bonham Carter. As she prepared to take on a role portraying Princess Margaret in Season 3 of The Crown, Bonham Carter consulted a psychic medium in a desire to seek approval and advice directly from the late royal herself. She told the Cheltenham Literature Festival that her main objective when playing a real person is to somehow obtain their blessing because of having a responsibility to be authentic. According to the Guardian newspaper, Bonham Carter felt happily vindicated by her encounter with the princess, who told her that she was glad she had got the role. She reportedly said that Bonham Carter was better than the other actress they were considering for the part, whom she has not been able to identify except for knowing that it was a choice between the two. The late princess' purported statement rang true with Bonham Carter, who started to think that she was really present because of her reputation for complimenting and insulting a person in the same breath. Queen Elizabeth's outgoing younger sibling was known to be a heavy smoker from an early age, and had another piece of advice for the actress. According to Bonham Carter, she said, "Get the smoking right." Her message from the spiritual plane was that she had smoked in a very distinctive way, using the cigarette holder as much like a weapon for expression as it was for holding the cigarette. Ryan Gosling. Gosling is on record as claiming that his family moved out of his childhood home in Ontario because they believed it was haunted. It seems that Gosling was the only one in his family who was able to see a presence in the house from a very young age, while those around him were unaware. It was particularly frightening being the only witness, so he just had to wear his isolation in these sightings for years as a child. In his words, the being just sat there, and Gosling knew that he was a ghost and felt terror, but had to live with the phenomenon, until years later when other family members suddenly became aware of the spectre's presence. Gosling's mother, cousin and uncle, one by one, were able to see the ghost, leading to the decision for a mass exodus from their house. Interestingly, while Gosling states that he definitely witnessed the eerie apparition as a child, he claims to no longer believe in ghosts. Laura Linney. Linney was not a believer in ghosts until she encountered one of the famed ghosts of Broadway's Belasco Theatre. David Belasco built and managed the theatre from 1907 and lived on site. He is seen regularly there sporting a clerical collar and cassock, an outfit he frequently donned in life, and which earned him the nicknames the Bishop of Broadway and the Monk. Actors have witnessed a lone dark figure observing from the balcony, then approaching them for a chat after the show. Others have reported the frequent patter of disembodied footsteps, doors opening and shutting at random, curtains swaying for no reason, and the elevator taking off even when it was not being used. Others have claimed that someone's dog would growl at an invisible presence in the theatre every day at exactly 4 p.m. because it sensed Belasco's spirit nearby. Linney has told James Corden on The Late Late Show that she has gone from being a non-believer to totally convinced that the Belasco is haunted. She'd once been told that there was a mysterious passing of a chorus girl there, and of local legend which says that the ghosts emerge at final dress rehearsals. However, she'd forgotten these tales until performing a play with Jane Alexander, when she glanced up to the upper balcony, which was locked at the time, and noticed a blonde woman wearing a blue dress standing in the front row and looking out over the theatre. The stunned Linney looked back at Alexander, then back up to the balcony, and the woman had vanished. She later told the house manager that she thought she'd seen a ghost, and he asked, "Male or female?" She said, "Female," and he replied, "Blue dress, blonde hair?" The so-called Blue Lady is apparently well known to inhabit the theatre, and thought of being a companion of Belasco's. Telly Savalas, the world-famous actor and singer who nailed the TV role of gritty New York detective Lieutenant Theo Kojak, would tell of an encounter he experienced in the late 1950s. He had been driving home from a social event in Long Island in the middle of the night when his car ran out of petrol, and he found himself stranded on a deserted stretch of highway. He left his vehicle and started walking to seek out a service station, and was eventually spotted by a passing motorist who kindly stopped and offered Savalas a lift. The actor noticed that his Good Samaritan had an unusual demeanour and spoke with a strangely high-pitched and unnerving voice. After collecting petrol at the station, Savalas accepted a ride back to his car from the mysterious driver, who had even lent him a few dollars to pay for the fuel. The embarrassed actor requested his name and telephone number in order to repay the cash at a later date. Strangely, Savalas found the driver suddenly talking about a relatively unknown baseball player, in an unsettling, sudden change in conversational topic. He duly thanked the man for his kindness, and on returning to work the next day, was astonished to see a headline on the front page of a local newspaper about the sudden passing of the very same baseball star of whom the man had spoken the previous night. On telephoning the handwritten number so as to return the borrowed money, Savalas' call was answered by a woman, whom he promptly asked to put him onto the man who had helped him the previous night. The actor was then informed that the man he was wanting to speak to had been deceased for some time. The woman who had picked up the phone was the late driver's widow. She agreed to finally meet with Savalas, who showed her the piece of paper on which the spectral driver had written. The widow told him that the handwriting seemed to match that of her husband, who, she disclosed, had sustained a gun blast through the throat. This seemed to explain why the altruistic ghost spoke in such a high-pitched tone. Carrie Fisher. The Star Wars icon had the traumatic experience of a friend of hers overdosing while sleeping next to her one night. Following the unnerving saga, Fisher revealed to Vanity Fair in 2006 that she sensed the presence of his spirit in a Beverly Hills mansion. She reported that lights would flicker on and off for no reason. She also had a novelty toy which would utter curses when someone touched it. The little machine would set itself off in the middle of the night from its solitary position in her closet. The paranormal occurrences were so unsettling that after a stressful year of them, Fisher arranged for an exorcist to come and cleanse the air in the house. Susan Boyle. The Scottish singer who rose to fame after appearing in Britain's Got Talent has claimed that she's seen her late mother's spirit in the house they shared. Boyle's success enabled her to buy the council house she grew up in, and she says that not only is her mother energy still there, she has actually seen her mother around the house. Boyle has said that she sensed her mother was letting her know that she was all right and that she had not abandoned her. The sighting was accompanied by wafts of a lovely perfumed smell. The gifted singer seems to have a psychic bent, saying also that she senses the presence of legendary singer Elvis Presley when singing his original 1971 track, "O Come All Ye Faithful." She felt his ghost around her when she was recording the song, and sometimes feels his presence when singing it, sensing his excitement and pleasure on hearing her version of it. Chateau Marmont. The Chateau Marmont in West Hollywood has been the wild party location of choice for the famous since 1927, and now is a site of fabled celebrity ghosts, which include Marilyn Monroe, Boris Karloff, and Jim Morrison. One A-list celebrity guest who stayed and never left is comedian John Belushi, who passed at the hotel in 1982 and was found in Bungalow 3, which now seems home to many strange hauntings. The best-known incident took place in 1999, when the family was temporarily staying in Bungalow 3 while the home was being renovated. The family's 2-year-old son was often seen to be talking to himself, laughing and giggling. When asked about what he was laughing at, he would reply, "Ah, the funny man." Later, his mother was browsing through a book about celebrity guests of Chateau Marmont when the boy spotted a photo of John Belushi and exclaimed, "The funny man." In another incident at the hotel, actor and director Angela Bassett asked at front desk reception if somebody had cleaned her room in the middle of the night. Receptionist hesitatingly answered no. Bassett has told the story that she had left her clothes and jewellery in a bit of disarray before retiring for the night, but on awakening found all her belongings neatly ordered and put away, with everything tidy. The only explanation offered by management was that she'd had a tidy ghost haunting her room.